Alright folks, we are back again now. This was on the next Sunday, so this most recent Sunday from the time of you watching this video. If you're watching right after it's posted, that is. But nonetheless, we are here at Port Royal Speedway. Like I said in the last video, my home track. I'm only like a mile and a half from this track, so very cool to be able to race the local dirt track in a game with good physics like this. And yeah, still the same setup as last time in terms of the format, with the exception of now we have less drivers for this event, so there are less groups. But because there are less groups, that will mean that the top 2 drivers will go to the dash, and I believe the top 3 go to the A main, with the bottom 3 going to the B main. There is no C main in this event because there is only a C main if we have enough drivers for 6 groups in the heats. And yeah, just like last time, this is first a a short race, which is basically just for qualifying, all about putting your fastest lap time in. And yeah, this was a track where I was really struggling finding the setup on it. It's a very difficult track to drive. There you can see I make a mistake there. And yeah, I'm just not putting in a solid lap time at all right now. In the first race, I was able to quickly put in a lap time of my potential, but this was definitely a track that I was paying attention to what other drivers were doing and continuing to learn as the night went on. But with 2 laps to go, still plenty of time to get a decent lap in. You really want to hug the high side here. The high side is the way to go at Port Royal in this game. You want to keep the car as straight as possible, really get a good run off the high side onto the back stretch, and hopefully we can get a decent lap in, because none of these laps honestly have been any good. A little bit too much sliding there. I would have liked to keep it a little bit tighter and come down a little bit sharper on the exit, but nonetheless we do get a, I believe it was a, honestly I forget what the lap time was. So we will have to wait until we go back to the lobby to see the lap time. But yeah, I was still feeling pretty good going into this race, considering how well we did in our first race ever. I probably wasn't feeling as good about this one, honestly, because I didn't feel as confident in my setup, even though I worked really hard on the setup, don't get me wrong, but I just still felt like there was more to find in the setup. I just couldn't find it. But hey, these are things, I'm still very new to this type of racing. Just being a sponge, soaking in as much information as I possibly can. And we still have this whole race and then next week's whole race event to get things figured out before the regular season starts. And hey, the fact that I'm complaining to myself saying, man, I really don't have things figured out, when we were 3rd fastest in the last event, and we're looking to probably at least get to the A main at the very least here. You know, that's a good problem to have. And as you can see, I got a 13.9. I wasn't happy with that. I was looking for at least a 13.8 out of myself, if not a 13.7. It still wouldn't have been enough if I did my best potential lap to beat RPM, but hey, we're still at least P2 nonetheless going into the heat, so still a front row start. And judging by our qualifying pace between us and the other drivers, we look like we should at the very least be able to make it to the A main with no problem, which is the main focus. But remember, if we get into top 2, that puts us into the dash, which is really big, because obviously you want to be able to start as close to the front as possible in any form of racing. So just making the A mains nice, but I would prefer to start, you know, in the top 6 compared to 15th, obviously. Ready now to start the heat. We're starting alongside RPM there in the 41. We get a better launch than him off the line. And the one good thing about starting in second there is I'm already having the car positioned on the outside lane, which is the lane I want. And yeah, early on we were able to take the lead over RPM in this heat. So now my main focus is just put in solid lap times and pull away from the rest of the field and just really secure my spot in the A main. That's all I really care about here. Anything beyond that is just bonus. But unfortunately there for us, there was a caution, which obviously didn't want because I had such a good start. But hey, it looks like that the difference here is just we have different setup, and my setup gets a better launch off the starts. So we should be able to get another good launch here, which we do. RPM actually temporarily loses second place even there, but he gains it back on the exit of the corner as the black and red car behind us got loose on the exit. We hold the lead. Already halfway through this heat, actually. These heats really fly by fast, and even in real life, heats just fly by. So you really got to make sure you're getting where you need to get real quickly in these heats. You know, no time to fuck about. RPM is right on my bumper here. I'm just going to keep running my line. He throws it up, and the car absolutely sticks. I'm going to try to get back up under him here. Even though I wasn't as confident with this setup in terms of pace, I still felt good and consistent to be able to comfortably race side by side with people. But there, it looks like RPM just has a little bit too much for us, a little bit more in the setup he has found. And yeah, he's just able to consistently run it so high to the fence. My car just, if I get that close to the fence where the track is banked even more, my car just wants to dive back down. I just couldn't find a setup to consistently hold that top line. But hey, as you can see, me and him are still pulling away from the rest of the field. You can see down there in the bottom left. And not only are we looking to safely move on to the A main, but we are looking to easily make the dash as well, which will just be an additional opportunity to gain more spots for the starting grid in the A main. And like everyone knows in every form of racing, starting in a better position is obviously good. So we're going to come around the final two corners. RPM keeps it clean, doesn't give me the free position. And while we won the heat last week, stiffer competition in the heat this week, but still a nice solid second place finish. And next we'll be moving on to the dash. There was 4 groups with the top 2, like I said, moving on to the dash from each. So 8-car field here. We start in the back row from the random draw, unfortunately. Oh, and you can see contact early on, hitting the inside wall and bouncing into the other cars. That gives us a couple positions here early on. We're just going to try to find any space we can get on the track. Everyone's getting into me here, and yeah, that was a little, it's a wild start to this. But one thing that this actually did kind of do there, even though that was unfortunate there, how, you know, RPM got into the back of me, then the pink and green car is just an absolute madman, and the whole confuckery happened there. But one thing that actually did do is give me confidence moving into the A main. It's like, these are the best of the best guys here in the field tonight running here. You know, we're already making the A main, and we're going to be starting at the front of the A main. And to see that even people this far up in the field are making mistakes like that and have inconsistencies means that, hey, you know, we're going to be able to race for a very solid position here in the race tonight. So if anything, that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence, even though me losing spots there that I had gained off the start was very inconvenient. As you can see here, it's not like I'm really flying up to anybody. I'm just kind of holding my line, staying consistent. I'm really hoping to get, you know, just one more position. Every position counts, like I keep on saying. And no one's really pulling away too much right now. You know, we're all kind of just a couple tenths apart right now, consistent, even though we clearly have different setups and are running different parts of the track, which is just, again, I know I said it in the last video, but it's just something I find really cool about this game, where there isn't just one answer, it seems like. Maybe to some track and car combinations there is, but so far it just seems like, you know, you got people having success running different kinds of setups and different parts of the track, which I was really happy about. I was really hoping this wouldn't be a game where just one line is supreme all the time, because not only does that make it bland in terms of what the drivers are doing, but it would also make overtaking very difficult if only one line is ever useful. We've caught the car ahead here on the last lap of the dash. We're going to try to get a really good run off the top side here, see if we can come underneath them, get the run on the straightaway. Straightaway is not long enough, though. It is 6th out of 8 in the dash, which means we will obviously start 6th, which is the position we finished in last week's event here in the A main. And yeah, 2 for 2 with making A mains. It looks like that could become a norm for us in making the A mains, which is obviously a good habit to have. And I'm really hoping for not a repeat of last week, where I got hit to next to last place after the first 2 corners. So hoping for a little bit better luck here at the start. The outside lane will allow us to get right into our groove immediately. We have a decent jump off the line. Everyone on the inside kind of gets held up by Oceanic there in the teal car. You can remember him from last video. And yeah, in the chaos early on, we were able to get a good launch, gain 2 positions, excuse me, off the start, and that early caution just allows us to reset it again, which I was very fine with because it seemed like our setup was very good here coming to the green flag. So it just gives me another opportunity to gain more quick positions, which is exactly what we want, you know. I want my overtakes to come as easy as possible. We get a better launch in Oceanic. The car in front of us makes a mistake, goes into the wall. A little bump there on the exit. I don't know what the ghost car is all about there. And yeah, right away we can just settle into our rhythm and hold this good position for as long as possible. And like I said in the dash, I really just want to break away from the rest of the field, and then we can race it out later, you know. But what I don't want us to do is race super hard right now and then just allow the rest of the field to be there to battle us, pick us off, and potentially even run into us. I just want to have a good, clean race. And yeah, it's me, Oceanic. I forget who the car ahead of me is. You can see Oceanic is just very much struggling. He's all over the place. He gets into me there. That allows RPM to come back under us. Oceanic gets up into RPM. He's hitting everyone but the flagman here tonight. Gets into me again. And I was thinking, oh man, you know, and he pinches me up against the wall there. Just, you know, it is frustrating. You know, he hit me last week, and here he's already hit me multiple times in the race this week. So, and then we get slid up to again. Everyone within 5 yards of me just is getting into me here. It's really frustrating. You know, I just want to have some clean racing here, not play fucking pinball, to quote the great Fernando Alonso. Or was that Vettel that said racing or ping pong? I don't know, but you guys get what I mean. Almost a third of the way through the A main here, still holding a solid P4 position here early on, but I feel like I do have the equal pace to the cars ahead. Maybe not the leader so much, but here, second and third. But I feel like the big advantage I have over them is just consistency and being able to hold the line consistent and keep this car smooth when I'm racing side by side with someone. We almost get into him there. He pulls us, pinches us down on the inside. That allows the blue and yellow car to get by us. And this is exactly what I didn't want. Everyone getting all clustered together, which just is going to set me up. And an RPM gets into me, puts me into the fence. Another position we lost because someone hits us. Just, man, very frustrating start to this heat. You know, it's one thing if people are passing me clean, but when everyone's passing me just by slamming up into me, you know, like I said, this is one of the reasons I really wish that damage was on, because that would get rid of that bullshit. You know, it forces people to be more conservative, and if they're not more conservative, at least they get the damage early in the race, and then they'll be irrelevant for the rest of the race, and they don't mess with the people trying to run up front. RPM gets up into the top wall. The 53 there is loose. We get back by him, and we are back into 4th place, baby. The 53 gets a good run on us here. We're going to hold the high line, but it doesn't matter if we hold the line, because he's just going to put us into the fucking fence anyhow, because no one can race clean. Now we got this pink and black car coming up into us. He's someone else that got into us in last week's race. I'm sure he'll probably get into us again here, considering how things have gone so far. We are now, as we cross the line here, halfway through the A main. Very eventful so far. Almost getting to the back of the car in front of us there. He's driving very erratically. I don't know where to run. And then he comes down into us again. Just I genuinely don't know where to run with these people to not hit me. Like, all that I'm trying to do is just run some clean laps and just avoid contact. But even when I'm just trying to avoid incidents, I can't. You know, people are driving very erratically here. I don't know if that's just their driving style, where they're not consistent, or if their setups are just fucking terrible. But either way, very inconvenient for us. We settle back into the position eventually that we started in, P6. But yeah, very frustrating feature race for us so far. But with 12 laps to go, it looks like we can finally settle into some kind of rhythm and try to catch RPM up here, who is the car ahead of us, and see if we can make up for him beating us in the heat, and see if we can get him back here in the feature race. Advancing forward, we got about 5 laps to go at this point. RPM has caught the 53 ahead. That's that blue and yellow car you saw from earlier. I got the black, pink, and green car behind me. He's caught me back up again. His setup must be quick, but very difficult to control. So I'm really hoping that the cars in front of us battle, so then I can catch back up to them. I'm really hoping I don't get ran into by the car behind me. Just a lot going on here, right here at the end of the race. just like the last week's race, it seems like the thing started out hot, fizzled out in the middle, and then everyone just seems to meet up in pace right at the end of the race. But hey, makes it very exciting. You know, no boring moments in these races. And there he just gets into us again. You know, this. These aren't even mistakes at this point. You know, these people just blatantly don't give a shit if there's a car beside them. They will just slam up into you and bank into you in the corner. 1 lap to go. He cuts down in front of us, messes up my line. I try not to hit him. I'm the only person that attempts to not hit people in this league, it seems.
Way to go, Sonny.
And yeah, frustratingly, the 53 actually made a mistake on the last lap, I guess, and we still end up finishing P6. Yeah, this is just preseason again, and so next week's race be, but yeah, 2 P6s in a row when I know I'm better than P6, and it's one thing to not get the finish because I'm not good, but when I'm losing positions just because everyone and their fucking mother is slamming into me, it's very frustrating. But nonetheless, we'll be back next week, and hopefully we can break the P6 curse.